South Waren Captains are Chris. Austin, please make sure your device is set to silent or vibrate or something along those lines. Good luck to both teams. Looks like you're the only coaches here. You guys ready? Grayson? Okay. Here we go. Good luck to both teams. Toss-up 1. While this experiment's original performance showed only a few results, later analysis showed over 20 products. It tested the hypotheses of Alexander Waren and J.B.S. Haldane and produced the currently accepted theories on abiogenesis. Name this experiment that simulated the chemical conditions thought to be present on a young Earth. South Waren, Austin.
Primal soup experiment?
Incorrect. Time, the Miller-Urey experiment, Toss-up 2. This painter depicted damned souls in the river Styx trying to overturn a boat carrying Virgil and Dante in a work titled The Bark of Dante. He showed Ottoman soldiers preparing to kill civilians in massacre at Chios, while another work shows a woman holding a musket and a French flag, named the artist of Liberty Leading the People. Correct. Bonus 3. The hypotenuse of a 45, 45, 90 triangle has a length of 8 units. In square units, calculate the exact area of the triangle.
Everything to Emma?
16 radical 2.
Incorrect. Captain?
32 radical 2.
Incorrect. 16 square units. Toss-up 4. This writer profiled his years in a foster home in Ba Ba Black Sheep and included The Man Who Would Be King in his story collection The Phantom Rickshaw. He profiles a painter losing his eyesight in The Light That Failed, while Mandalay and Gunga Din show his strong sense of British imperialism. Name this Nobel Prize-winning author who created Kem Baloo, Rikki Tikki Tavi, and Mowgli.
Grayson, no.
Hesitation.
South Warren, Allegedly?
Correct. Bonus 5. When he announced in 2015 that he would run for president, he said he would be the, quote, greatest jobs president that God ever created. Although he did not run in 2012, he did maintain a high profile by questioning whether President Obama had really been born in the U.S. Name this Republican candidate, known for his real estate fortune and reality TV shows.
Donald Trump.
Correct. Toss-up 6. This writer prefaced his Snopes trilogy with Barn Burning, which tells of Colonel Sanders Snopes' transient childhood due to his father's repeated arson. He set Dry September, Spotted Horses, and The Bear in the fictional yacht myth.
Jason, Alex.
Faulkner.
Correct. Bonus 7. This transaction, postponed because of the Civil War, gained impetus when Baron Edouard de Sterkel approached U.S. officials in December 1866. His nation had become more interested in expanding its power in Asia and wanted to jettison its American colony. What transaction, finalized in 1867, saw the U.S. buy more than 586,000 square miles from Russia?
Oh, was it made doing folly?
Correct. Also 8. This term, first used by Jeremias Richter, translates to measuring elements. The ratios found in this process are often used to find a reaction's limiting species and are based on the conservation of mass. Name the process of balancing the coefficients of reactants and products in a chemical reaction. Time, stoichiometry. Toss-up 9. This instrument is the featured soloist in Paul Hindemith's Swan Turner Concerto. It also represents the title character in Harold in Italy by Hector Berlioz and has its music commonly written in alto clef. Name this instrument tuned 1 octave higher than the cello, the alto voice of the string family.
Grayson, Alex.
Viola.
Correct. Bonus 10. The equation of circle is x squared plus y squared plus 2x minus 4y equals 0. What's the length of the radius of the circle? Incorrect, Captain?
30.
Incorrect. Square root of 5. Toss-up 11. This structure leads to the neural plates formation and extends to the sphenoid bone. Composed of cells derived from the mesoderm, it is present in embryos from a certain phylum. What is this namesake of the vertebrate phylum, the precursor to the spinal column?
Grayson, no.
Correct. Bonus 12. This dramatic form is part of the title of a Henry Fielding play that contains a performance of The Pleasures of the Town. Its name derives from the French for to stuff, and modern examples include Accidental Death of an Anarchist by Dario Fo. What type of comedy uses stereotyped characters, slapstick, and highly improbable plots?
Farce.
Correct. Also 13. This type of clause can be introduced by either a subordinating conjunction or a relative pronoun. It can function as a noun, adjective, or adverb, as in the sentence. When my appointment arrives, have him meet me in the cafeteria. What kind of clause contains both a subject and verb but cannot stand alone?
Supplemental.
Dependent clause.
Correct. Bonus 14. Suppose that line P passes through the points with coordinates 5, -1, and 4, 4. As a fraction, find the slope of a line that is perpendicular to line P.
One-fifth.
Correct. Also 15. This organization was honored with the Nobel Peace Prize in 1917 and 1944 and shared a third in 1963. It was founded in 1863 by a man who saw the suffering of wounded soldiers at the 1859 Battle of Solferino and identified this relief organization, founded by Henri Dunant.
Supplemental.
Doctor said that for us.
Correct. Time, the Red Cross. Also 16. This film's protagonist becomes annoyed after being told that Woody Harrelson and Michael Fassbender are unavailable and that Jeremy Renner has been put in a cape too. In the film, Regan Thompson is haunted by a character he used to portray on screen. In what film does Michael Keaton play a man who once...
Facing Nova.
Birdman?
Correct. Bonus 17. This scientist wrote On Human Nature, relating evolutionary theory to human society. In 2013, it was announced that he would teach a class at the Nicholas School of the Environment at Duke University. Name the Harvard naturalist known for studying ants.
Lyle.
Incorrect, Captain?
Wilbur.
Correct. Wilson. Also 18. Let g of x equal secant squared of x. On the interval from x equals -pi divided by 4 to x equals pi divided by 4, evaluate the definite integral of g of x dx. Time 2. Also 19. This organization was founded in 1957 and took its current name at its first conference in Montgomery, Alabama that August. The Reverend C.K. Steele was elected vice president, the Reverend T.J. Jemison secretary, and Dr. Ralph Abernathy treasurer. What civil rights organization also elected Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. as its first president?
Facing Nova.
NAACP?
Correct. Time. The Southern Christian Leadership Conference. Toss up 20. This. I'm sorry.
Incorrect.
Yeah.
I said correct.
No, incorrect. Sorry. Toss up 20. This poetic element may be masculine or feminine depending on whether one or two syllables are involved. In the I version, syllables are spelled identically but pronounced differently, while the near type is sometimes called slant. Edgar Allan Poe used the true type of what sound device when he wrote, "For the moon never beams without bringing me dream."
Facing Nova.
Fine.
Correct. Bonus 21. In the expanded form of the expression quantity, x minus y close quantity, raised to the 10th.
Reread.
I'm sorry. In the expanded form of the expression quantity, x minus 6y close quantity, raised to the 10th power, how many terms are there? Thank you.
11.
Correct. Also 22. This playwright explores the effects of congenital syphilis in ghosts and forces Dr. Stockman to follow his conscience in declaring a town's public baths contaminated and an enemy of the people.
Facing Alex.
Incorrect. An adolescent girl commits suicide in his drama The Wild Duck, while a folk hero faces destruction unless he earns a woman's love in Peer Gynt. Identify the creator of Hedda Gabler, as well as Nora and Torvald Helmer in A Doll's House.
Supplemental.
Correct. Bonus 23. This military effort was authorized by the Council of Claremont, which also renewed the movement called the Peace of God. The peace movement aimed to help those in distress, and the military effort was intended to help Christians in the East. What military effort did Pope Urban II call for in 1095?
The Crusades.
Correct. Also 24. This dance's three-part change step is used to switch between its natural and reverse types of turns. The box step is the most basic form of movement in the dance, whose tempo is slowed down in the American version. Name this ballroom dance done in 3/4 time, whose version...
Supplemental.
Waltz.
Correct. Bonus 25. This quantity is raised to the 4th power to find the energy of a black body in the Stefan-Boltzmann law. A substance's heat capacity is equal to the amount of heat it takes to raise this value for the substance. What is this property of matter, often measured in Rankine or Kelvin?
Temperature.
Correct. Toss up 26. This architect proposed a model American suburb called Broadacre in his book, The Disappearing City. He created a completely symmetrical front for his Winslow house. Name this architect who integrated the Bear Run River into his design for Fallen.
Grayson Miller.
Frank Lloyd Wright.
Correct. Bonus 27. If log base A of 7 equals 8, evaluate the expression log base A of the fourth root of 7.
1.
Incorrect. Captain?
Lloyd.
Incorrect. 2. Also 28. This executive branch was established by President Nixon in Executive Order 11541 on July 1st, 1970. Sean Donovan became director of the agency in July 2014. What agency in the office of the president prepares and presents to Congress the president's budget?
Sophomore.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sophomore and Megan?
Department of Finance.
Incorrect.
Grayson Miller.
Department of Budget.
Incorrect. The Office of Management and Budget. Also 29. This man's first verse volume included The Cotter's Saturday Night, as well as a tribute to his local river, Acton Water. He dedicated poems to a louse and to a mouse and a...
Grayson Alex.
Correct. Bonus 30. This process was accepted by the scientific community after the concept of seafloor spreading was developed. It's caused by convection currents in the asthenosphere, and this process that causes pieces of the crust to move around the Earth. Incorrect, Captain. Hesitation. Plate tectonics. Also 31. If f of x equals x raised to the 2/3 power, evaluate the expression f of negative 27.
Second one, David.
9.
Correct. Bonus 32. This city was the home of the world's first commercial radio station, which began broadcasting in 1920. It grew from a French fort into a city where Andrew Carnegie and Henry Clay Frick built their steelmaking empires. Name this Pennsylvania city built where two rivers join to form the Ohio River.
Pittsburgh.
Correct. Also 33. This ambiguous character was at home with the Aesir and with their deadliest enemies, the giants. One writer described him as pleasant and handsome in appearance, wicked in character, and very changeable in his ways. What figure in Norse...
Grayson Miller.
Lucky.
Correct. Bonus 34. This man wrote the humble request of his majesty's loyal subjects to assure the king of England of his colony's loyalty to the throne, despite their physical distance from England. The History of New England is the title under which his 3-volume journal was published almost a century and a half after his death. Identified as leader who compared the Massachusetts Bay Colony to a city upon a hill and a model of Christian charity. Correct. Also 35. This letter denotes a physics constant that quantifies the strength of electromagnetic interaction between elementary particles. In addition to the fine structure constant, it stands for a type of radioactive decay that releases 2 protons and 2 neutrons, and also...
Second one, Austin.
Alpha.
Correct. That's the half. The 3 period begins now. Very good. Okay, no substitutions. Captain. All right. Good luck to both teams. Toss up 1. The film A Ballerina's Tale centers on this dancer, who was the Firebird in a 2012 Alexei Ratmansky production. Kevin McKenzie announced her new position 1 week after she first performed as the White and Black Swans in Swan Lake. In 2015, what ballerina became the American Ballet Theater's first African-American principal? Time. Misty Copeland. Toss up 2. This corporation's name translates as People's Car in its founder's native language.
Grayson Miller.
Volkswagen.
Correct. Bonus 3. These structures, whose growth is controlled by the Spitzenkorper, come in generative, skeletal, and binding varieties. When they are not cenocytic, they consist of cells divided by segmented walls called septa. Name these filaments that form the body of fungi.
Mycelium.
Incorrect, Captain?
Mica.
Incorrect. Ephi. Toss up 4. The importance of this type of group is one of the most noticeable developments seen during adolescence. An adolescent will turn to this group for guidance, security, and support. Aggression within the group is associated with bullying. What type of group shares certain characteristics?
Second one, Owen.
Correct. Bonus 5. Express your answer as a fraction. The quantity y varies directly as the quantity x, and y equals 15 when x equals 24. Calculate the value of the constant of variation. Correct. Toss-up 6. In this work, the author shares his conclusion that if one advances confidently in the direction of his dreams, he will meet with a success unexpected in common hours. It advocates solitude, soul-searching, ascetic living, and closeness to nature to prevent the reader from resembling the mass of men who lead lives of quiet desperation. Name this collection of the author's 2 years on the tidal pond, written by Henry David Thoreau.
Grayson, Alex.
Walden.
Correct. Bonus 7. One of these objects provides the nickname of an architectural structure that in 2012 was rechristened Elizabeth Tower. Giotto built a structure next to the Florence Cathedral to house some, while a structure built to house them has a 4-degree lean in Pisa. What objects include London's Big Ben?
Clock house.
Incorrect. Captain. Hesitation. Bells. Also 8. The deepest confirmed point in this sea is 16,896 feet, found at 36 degrees 32 minutes north latitude, 21 degrees 6 minutes east longitude. Its name comes from the Latin for middle of the land. What sea lies between Europe and Africa?
Southern Austin.
Mediterranean.
Correct. Bonus 9. These galaxies generally have a low rate of star formation and low density gas. They are commonly found in the center of galaxy clusters and superclusters because they are the massive members of the group. What type of galaxies are believed to be created when galaxies collide?
Elliptical.
Correct. Toss-up 10. Express your answer as a fraction. Vectors u and v are orthogonal. If u equals 4, comma, negative 3, and if v equals 3/5, comma, x, calculate the value of x. Time, 4/5. Toss-up 11. The daughter of an obscure German prince, she was married at a young age to her cousin, the Grand Duke Peter. When Peter became emperor, she led the enlightened forces that compelled his abdication in 1762.
Grayson, Timothy.
Second first.
Incorrect. That compelled his abdication in 1762, proclaiming her empress. Name this woman who ruled for 34 years, making Russia an integral part of Europe.
Southern Austin.
Catherine the Great.
Correct. Bonus 12. In this novel, an army's execution of striking banana plantation workers initiates 5 years of ceaseless rain. Set in the magical village of Macondo, it tracks the Buendias family's rise and fall over a century's time. Give the title of this Gabriel Garcia Marquez masterpiece.
Rise.
Incorrect, Captain.
100 Years of Solitude.
Correct. Also 13. Express your answer as a decimal. Suppose that 10% of the students in a large school write with their left hands, and suppose that a sample of 5 students are chosen independently from the students in this school. Calculate the probability that exactly 3 students in this sample write with their left hands. Time, 0.0081. Also 14. One mostly bloodless conquest of this city followed the breaking of the Pact of Hudaybiya and resulted in the defeat of the Quraysh rulers. A structure in this city that contains the black stone is circled 7 times by pilgrims. To what city, home of the Kaaba, are Muslims?
Grayson, Noah.
Mecca.
Correct. Bonus 15. The proteins in this liquid are stabilized by kappa casein cells that repel each other with negative charges, making this drink a colloid. This common household substance was first made safe for long-term storage after Franz von Soxhlet proposed heating it to kill bacteria, identified this emulsion of butterfat suspended in a water-based liquid produced by mammals for their young. Correct. Also 16. This construct of physics is used because inertial reference frames each have a different notion of time and simultaneity. Lorentz transformations are used to connect inertial reference frames in this construct. What 4-dimensional unification makes up the fabric of the universe?
Southern Noah.
Space-time.
Correct. Bonus 17. This amendment, which prohibited more slaves in a western territory, passed the House but not the Senate. What compromise allowed Maine to enter as a free state and a western territory to enter as a slave state?
Missouri Compromise.
Correct. House of 18. In this novel, a poor farmer marries the Huang family's slave before buying up their land piece by piece. Wang Lung and Olan have children and grow rich, but he eventually takes
Grayson, Alex.
Gooder.
Correct. Bonus 19. It was for this instrument that Olivier Messiaen composed his 1950 Mass for Pentecost. In 2001, scholars in Germany began playing John Cage's As Slow as Possible on this instrument, hoping the performance will last 600 years. Identify this keyboard instrument, often found in churches.
Organ.
Yep. Also 20. Express your answer as a decimal. Suppose that independent events A and B have probabilities of 0.2 and 0.3 respectively. What is the probability of the event A and B?
Grayson Timothy.
0.5.
Incorrect.
Southland Austin.
0.6.
Incorrect. 0.06. Also 21. In this man's play, The Suppliants, a group of sisters flees to avoid marrying their cousins, while Xerxes and his men suffer divine punishment in the Persians. He explores the Oedipus myth in Seven Against Thebes and writes.
Grayson Alex.
Sophocles.
Incorrect. He explores the Oedipus myth in Seven Against Thebes and writes of a chained and mobile protagonist in Prometheus Bound. Name the tragedian responsible for the Oresteia trilogy.
Southland Miller.
Euripides.
Incorrect. Aeschylus. Also 22. In this form of artwork, a base known as arricciato is often applied over the rough cast plaster layer. Mascaccio created a cycle of it for the Brancacci Chapel, and Raphael's The School of Athens is an example. Name this type of artwork in which an artist paints directly.
Grayson Noah.
Pascal.
Correct. Bonus 23. Politically active, this economist was national chairman of Americans for Democratic Action and was appointed ambassador to India by President Kennedy. His works include American Capitalism, the Concept of Countervailing Power, and the New Industrial State. What Canadian-born economist is best known for his 1958 work, The Affluent Society?
Keynes.
Incorrect. Captain?
Krugman.
Incorrect. Galbraith. Also 24. Scientists use genetically modified versions of this organism to synthesize medicines, notably antibiotics. Alfred Hershey and Martha Chase infected this organism, which contains the lock operon, with the T2 bacteriophage. Name this common rod-shaped intestinal bacteria.
Grayson Alex.
E. coli.
Correct. Bonus 25. Consider the graph of the function. Y equals x squared plus 3x minus 6. What is the slope of the line that is tangent to the graph of y at x equals 3? Incorrect. Captain?
9.
Correct.
I'm out.
I'm out.
Question number.
We are on question 26. Good. Ready to go, coaches? Okay. We'll begin. Hassa 26. He referred to himself as Christ-bearer in his letters and compiled a book of privileges and a book of prophecies. On his fourth voyage, he was given only 4 ships, while Nicolas de Ovando was given 30, which carried 2,000 colonists. What Italian-born navigator was long considered
Grayson Noah.
Columbus.
correct? Bonus 27. Reacting this compound with 3 equivalents of chlorine creates chloroform as well as 3 equivalents of hydrochloric acid. This hydrocarbon compound is found in the rain and lakes of the moon Titan and is isolated on Earth in cryogenic natural gas processes. Name the simplest alkane with chemical formula CH4.
Carbonic acid.
Incorrect, Captain?
Methane.
Correct. Also 28. Consider an equilateral triangle with an area of 8 square root of 3 units. In units, calculate the exact perimeter of the triangle.
Grayson Alex.
16 radical 2.
Incorrect.
Southland Miller.
12.
Incorrect. 12 radical 2 units. Also 29. In his autobiography, this man compares his birth and early life to the creation of the world as described in the book of Genesis. A later philosophical treatise criticizes pagan philosophy and dispels the notion that Christianity caused the Roman Empire's decline. Identify this Bishop of Hippo and author of Confessions.
Grayson Alex.
St. Augustine.
Correct. Bonus 30. In one opera by this composer, Laurie Moss is abandoned by Martin, with whom she'd fallen in love. His populist works include a piece for narrator and orchestra that integrates speeches by the 16th president. Name this American composer of Tinderland, Lincoln Portrait, and Fanfare for the Common Man.
Smith.
Incorrect, Captain?
Williams.
Incorrect. Copeland. Toss up 31. Calculate the sum of the complex number 2 plus 3i and its complex conjugate.
South Monroe.
4.
Correct. And bonus 32. It produced what has been called the most refined metalwork of all pre-Columbian cultures. Name this North American culture that flourished between 200 BC and AD 550, especially in southern Ohio.
Clovis.
Incorrect, Captain?
Designate now.
Mound Builders.
Incorrect. Hopewell. Toss up 33. At the end of one opera by this composer, Magda leaves Ruggiero to return to Paris and Rambaldo. In other operas, Kalaf sings an aria after answering 3 riddles posed by a Chinese princess, and Parisian artists struggle to escape poverty. Who composed La Rondine, Turandot, and La Bohème? Time, Puccini. House of 34. In 2009, this dramatist expanded his first one-act play to create At Home at the Zoo. Before penning the play about the baby and the goat or Who is Sylvia, he earned Pulitzer Prizes for Seascape and A Delicate Balance. Who examined a married couple's breakdown and Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf?
South Monroe.
Correct? Bonus 35. Pencil and paper ready. A block weighing 98 newtons is on a ledge 60 meters high. What is its potential energy in joules? And a hesitation. Captain?
704.
Incorrect. 5,880 joules. That's the match. The 3-minute inquiry period begins now. We have a tie. Coaches, do you guys want a minute, or shall we get right into overtime play?
How is overtime?
The first team to 5 questions correct.
So first time we get to 20. Okay. Please. So please. At 1 point in time. There's some sports you have to go to or something. Just first time you thought. So, are we doing?
I've gone back to round 1, and I'm going to start at question 36.
Okay, so first half round.
Yeah, first half round.
We'll start with.
Yeah, we will start with question 36. Yeah, you bet. And we'll still do bounce backs, but bounce back bonus.
Yeah, regular.
Great. Okay. Everybody ready? Here we go. Toss up. I'll just call this toss up 36. Express your answer as an ordered pair. Consider the system of equations. X plus 3y equals 6, and 5x minus 3y equals negative 12. Find the solution of the system. Time, -1, 7/3. Also 37. The requirements set forth in this case have been further defined by such cases as New York versus Quarles and Edwards versus Arizona. The original 1966 case set out guidelines that police could use when interrogating people about crimes. What case requires investigators to warn people of their rights in criminal cases?
Lexington.
Miranda v. Arizona.
Correct. Bonus 38. This epic's author appears in the story as a sage the pregnant female protagonist meets while in exile. The hero bends Shiva's bow at a bridegroom tournament to win Sita and rescues her from Ravana with Hanuman's aid. Identify this Sanskrit epic about an avatar of Vishnu, likely written by Valmiki.
Designate Alex. Mahabharata.
Incorrect, Captain?
Roshana.
Incorrect. The Ramayana. Also 39. This functional group is the primary constituent of petroleum, also known as crude oil. Cyclic versions of these saturated compounds have general chemical formula CnH to N+2. Name this hydrocarbon functional group that consists of carbon-carbon single bonds.
South Monroe.
Carboxyl.
Incorrect.
Spacing, please.
Carboxane.
Incorrect. Alkene. Also 40. The third verse of this song begs, "Let the hero born of woman crush the serpent with his heel." Its melody was also used for John Brown's Body, and both feature the refrain, "Glory, glory, hallelujah." What song, with lyrics by Julia Ward Howe, proclaims, "Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord"? Time. The Battle Hymn of the Republic. Okay, I'm going to move on now to the extra questions at the end of the second half. So we'll start again with question 36 there. Okay, and also 36. In the human body, 99% of this element takes the form of hydroxyapatite. Parathyroid hormone increases its ionic form in the bloodstream, and the sarcoplasmic reticulum stores and uses it for muscle contraction. Name this primary chemical element found in bones.
Spacing, Alex.
Calcium.
Correct. Bonus 37. In The Fun of It, this pilot wrote about a record-breaking flight from Newfoundland to Ireland. That 1932 flight was followed by a solo flight from Hawaii to California, longer than her solo flight to Europe. Name this pioneering aviator who disappeared in 1937 on an around-the-world flight.
Amelia Earhart.
Correct. Also 38. English name, please. This philosopher argued against the Manichaeans and Apollinaris in his Compendium of Theology. In his best-known work, he wrote that unintelligent things moving towards intelligent ends prove the existence of God. What Christian saint wrote the Summa Theologica?
Salvator.
Correct. Bonus 39. A trapezoid has a shorter base with a length of 10 units and a median with a length of 15 units. In units, calculate the length of the longer base of the trapezoid. Correct. And toss up 40. In 1954, this poet created a maritime radio drama, Under Milk Wood, at the request of the BBC. He recalls his rural childhood in the poem Fern Hill and proclaims, "Old age should burn and rave at close of day," in his most famous work. Who wrote A Child's Christmas in Wales and Do Not Go Gentle into That Good Night?
Salvator Megan.
Correct. And that's the end of the questions at the end of the second half. We're going to move into the extra questions at the end of the set. Okay. And this is, I'm sorry? Yes, this is a bonus question for sophomore. And we'll call this bonus 1 because it's the first of the extra question set. Okay. Bonus 1. A solution of this substance in water led to the discovery of Brownian motion. This notably flammable and generally spherical substance is produced in the stamens microsporangium and requires aerial assistance to reach the female's pistil. Name this allergy aggravating substance consisting of grains that carry the genetic information of seed plants. Correct. And toss up 2, yes. By convention, this period is considered to have been dominated by a reawakened interest in classical scholarship.
Spacing, Alex.
Neoclassicism.
Incorrect. It began at different times in different parts of Europe, first emerging in Florence in the mid-14th century. What period of European history takes its name from the French for rebirth?
Salvator.
Renaissance.
Correct. Bonus 3.
That's
Is that 5?
Yep.
Okay. Well done, both teams. Well done.